Hi, it's Xavier from Expressions of Grace Bonsai, and today it's Oak Day. Well, it was supposed to be Oak Morning, but I never quite got myself out of the house because I ended up watching some golf thing. But anyway, I've got loads of oaks, and the best thing about them is you can always leave them pretty well to last alongside the junipers and often the beech. But I've basically got 50, 60 oaks of various ages and sizes, and this is a selection of some of the bigger ones. Now all of these, minus this, but these ones here were all picked up at the Avalan Nursery dig, and a lot of them I just picked them up off the side of the plantings they had. Anything that's not straight, they basically top them and get ready to remove them in the winter. So you know, it's a bonus for me because some of these are going to make really good smaller size bonsai. So anyway, so I've got all these oaks here, got a couple of little ones here, and then the main ones that I'm going to deal with are a lot smaller, stuff like this, and these I literally bought 50 two-year-old whips from the same place. It's all naturally resourced, so we'll see what we can do with that. Now I can't remember if I mentioned it on one of my previous videos, but certainly I mentioned to Tony that I was going to be doing a complete redesign of my oak forest, and that's this one here. It's been in this pot for definitely 2 years, maybe 3, and of course I went to my database, and yep, this is one of the trees that I hadn't updated. There's a lot of things that don't get updated now I'm doing YouTube, and I've looked and I've got a pot that's another third bigger than this, and my idea, I thought, well, maybe I could put a lot of smaller trees with it and have a bit of fun, add some rocks and really make something quite rugged. But I've been holding off, and I think the reason is I actually like how this arrangement looks. There's something that just does it for me. So I've got a choice. I could take it out of the pot, just have a look at the roots, and maybe take a third off the base of the roots. So that's something I might consider doing. But it's got more than enough trees. I'm still developing structure up here, so it's still a long way to go, but I like it. So I think this composition is going to stay as it is. But what I am going to do is do something with those smaller whips. I actually repotted a whole load of oaks last year. So I think the decision is I'll probably do a little bit of weeding on it. I'll inspect the roots, and then it'll go in that. And then I'm going to find myself a pot that'll actually suit that one rather than that, because it's quite nice to take that plastic training pot off. Yeah, I've basically got these ones here, and there's, I don't know, 20, 22, 23 of them, and then obviously I've got the batch in there. I'm going to pull them all out and just see what's amongst it. I never did get to that. Oh, and I think I mentioned in my comments that I actually put moss on that little maple forest, and that looks lovely. And I've just gravelled this now as well, so I just need to find a smaller man. Anyway, let's get back to the oaks. Apart from that, obviously, well, you see there's a Satsuki azalea there, but the flowers and that cherry beside it's absolutely awesome. So we'll move you, and shall we just see if we can pick this up? It's always a test of a good group as to whether you can pick it up from the tree. Okay, so if I was going to make any decisions at all, I'm happy. There's some roots there, but it's certainly not pot bound, and I'm not even going to saw that. I will definitely weed the top, and it's going to go back in there, I think. Mr. Tiger, Mr. Cheetah can go back. Yeah, so I'll weed that, and that's going to be fine. That's probably going to be fine for at least another 2 years, I'd imagine. Okay, so I'm happy that it doesn't need to be repotted. I'm pretty happy with the general surface, to be honest. There's a few bits and pieces, a little bit of moss, but nothing too bad. I'll probably just remove some of the moss that's growing up around. And the tops. What I'll run into is just have a look at buds that I want. Now we've already got stuff opening up, so it's now just a case of removing bits and so it's like we look here, it's now just a case of having a look and just see if there's anything obvious that needs to be removed. We'll look on this first tree, nothing lower down. I really would like something to bud out lower down, but we've literally just got this stalk, so some dead. 1, 2, we've got that one's going to leaf out. Main one there, but I'm wondering whether, well, let's just get rid of that. Got this one down here which we probably don't want. Early stages. I'm just going to go around and do it to all of them. Okay. I'm just going to get rid of obvious issues. Okay, well, the sun is now beating down on my head, so I've got to get some protection. So I've basically pruned back. Now I'm going to go a lot heavier on this one in another 6 weeks' time, when the leaves are fully opened up, and I can then push on a lot of the lower budding points to try and to promote growth where I want it, and better ramification. But at the moment the leaves are opening up. My primary aim right now is to let those solar panels open up and get as much energy into that system as possible for when I go hard on it, as I say, in probably in a couple of months' time. I don't suppose it looks particularly much different, but it's another job done. And here's a little extra. Amongst all the other stuff you see me do and talk about, I do actually have lots of apples and beech and all sorts of things that I get on with. And although they don't form part of my my filming schedule, probably doesn't hurt to just see a couple of things I've done, and they're by no means bonsai, that's for sure. But I've been trying to get to the apples, and this was an ugly great stick basically that I'd decided, I think what it looked like, it was there and then they were straight like a big Y, and I was just about to throw it away, and then I thought, let's put some wire on it. So I put some wire on it, and you know, I'm by no means convinced, but there's a bit of shape there, so we'll see what happens with that. I also had the same issue with this beech. It was actually, I don't know if I have a picture for it, no, I might have a picture. It's very upright, slightly sloping, and everything on one side. So I took the top third off, but added a bit of wire, hopefully rebuild an apex here, and then just again, you know, with the aid of wire you can actually do quite a bit. So there's this beech, and it is totally different from what it's been sitting like for 4 years, 5 years. We'll see what happens with it, but at least it's got a little bit of movement to it now, and quite a few options, I think. Another of the apples, and to say these have all come from pips, well, not pip, but from apple pips, eaten by the monks of Papa Strunze up in the Orkneys. This one actually belongs to Zita. She's been styling it, I think. But it's an example. I had all these in plastic training pots, and it was doing nothing for them, and quite understandably why. They were still little plants. So, you know, giving that little trim up, it's looking nice and green, the apples there, but there's some movement in the trunk there. So that's quite nice. Another apple there. So look in there, very interesting root structure. And a lot of them have these wobbly Chinese elm type roots. They're very difficult, I find, apples, most of the fruits of that, because they keep, everywhere you cut they'll swell, They're very, very coarse, so it's never going to be an elegant, attractive tree. Well, I'm sure if you've got crab apples or anything like that, you know they're quite a lumpy tree. But yeah, so I've done about 20 or 30 of those. Continue to do larch work, moving Chinese elms on. Oh, I know, I'll show you, I'll tell you what, I'll show you some red oak. I think I also mentioned to you that I got a batch of oaks back in 2016, red oaks. Massive great leaves, to be honest, and totally unsuitable for bonsai. I literally, when I have them, I don't know if there's a picture coming up, I will literally have 1 or 2 leaves only on them. But yeah, so I've repotted those. Here's one of them. Lovely trunk movement. And again, I've cut it right back to just literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's literally going to be 6 leaves on this one when it grows out. Got a nice root structure in there. So nice movement, but that's a red oak. The ash, I've gone around and all of them are basically just taking off a little bit of roots and then they've gone back into the same pots. With these, I will wait for they get compound leaves, so you get the 5, I think it works out to 10 leaves on each of the compound structure. Very, very difficult to make as a convincing bonsai, I think, but really nice movement and structure there. And it may be that with this one, well, no, I won't. I was thinking I might actually remove here, but that's so straight, that's probably not. I love the movement on this, so we'll see what happens here. But yeah, so I've been doing my my ash, and I think I mentioned I was also looking at all my elm cuttings and stuff like that. Some of them got quite thick. Here's an example of one that's got quite thick. That's definitely a pinky's thick, and I just put them into deeper pots. There's actually a rock underneath the base of that, so that the roots grow around and not straight down. Yeah, and I've got a lot in this sort of stage where I haven't yet made a decision where they're going. I'm just monitoring them. Just as an addition, having done that last privet, tackled something a bit bigger, which was this one. It was in this great big pot and I wasn't going to bother with it. I thought it would be fine. And then having seen what that stump was like, I decided maybe I'd better have a look at this one. There were a lot of roots, there was nothing different about it. But I put it in this nice, straightforward round mica pot, nice and deep. The thing to be aware of this is that although you've got this lovely thick stump, it's actually quite rotten inside. So one of the things that I'm going to have to start looking at probably in the summer with something like this and the other privets, the big stumps, is do some investigation work on the stumps itself to find out where actually is viable. And that's one of the things you also need to watch out for with this sort of material. But I don't think you've seen this one, so I'll give it a spin. It's a great big trunk there. Again, it's come from same location. I picked it up in Doncaster. Certainly I'm glad I took it out of that plastic pot. Lots of work to be done in here and bits and pieces to remove, but first thing first was the importance of find the front again. You know what, I think that's probably the front. Oh no, yeah, that's the front. We've got this here, but maybe a bit of wiring. So, yeah, so you'll probably see this next one. I do a little bit of wiring on it. Or you'll see this at the time that I'm doing the wiring, or vice versa. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed that. Just very short and quick. Everything's going well for you, and wish you all the best. Happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.